The Vocal Studio.
Hello, welcome to the Find Your Inner Voice. Find Your Voice, our TVS podcast. We talk about voice, singing, vocal coaching, and the life around it. Hi, this is Hannah. I'm the senior vocal coach at the Vocal Studio Singapore. And today, here I am with Coach Enya, who is also the vocal coach at the Vocal Studio. And also, she's a Singaporean singer-songwriter who is actively writing some songs locally and had interesting journey in terms of music that I thought would be very nice to hear and also share with other people, all the people around you if you're interested in pursuing your musical career, education here in Singapore and also other outside Singapore. So we'll have some conversation about her musical journey and the vocal coaching, the teaching experience for her, and some recommendations that are coming from Coach Enya in terms of learning the songs and the tips for you to improve your singing. Okay, so stay tuned. Hi, Enya.
Hi there, how are you?
Good. How about you?
All right, yeah.
Yeah?
Midweek motivation, trying to get that up. It
We
is
all do
Wednesday
need
today,
we
right?
all do need it like at times. So thanks for joining our conversation. Also, it's a real pleasure to work with you.
Thanks for having
Um, yes, we didn't get to have, so every coach at the vocal studio had this conversation session to introduce themselves about, their music and just the motivation, where their inspiration of writing songs come from, and the musical journey of your own. So I wanted to ask you a little more questions around there. Again,
Sure.
yeah.
I wouldn't say I did my homework, but I took some notes. When you told me about this podcast, I was thinking who inspires me and in what way do they inspire me. So I think who I am today is largely a product of the music that I was listening to as I was growing up. Father played a lot of the Beatles. He played a lot of Eric Clapton, Cream type stuff, B.B. King, Simon and Garfunkel, and then there's a good lot of 90s R&B, so like Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men. Those have definitely influenced my sound a lot, but I would have to say probably the top 3 idols that I have musically would have to be Stevie Wonder, Ella Fitzgerald, and Aretha Franklin. Can't even say her name, Aretha Franklin. Just because I think as artists, they are just iconic, and when you hear them, you know it's them. There's no mistaking the sound. There's no mistaking the style, and they own everything, even if it's not original. Like Aretha sang quite a few songs, that other artists and songwriters wrote, but we do not think of the songwriters. We think of her. You know what I'm saying? So that to me is like the height of artistry. But like, so that's for artistry. But there are also singer-songwriter artists who are very strong singer-songwriters, but also artists. And I think that would have to be, we can't leave that out. So I'm gonna, I took a list here. Sarah Bareilles in contemporary music has inspired me a lot. I had quite an obsession with her at one phase, and like her albums I would listen to on loop. And also Ingrid Michaelson. I really like their writing style. So Sarah Bareilles is more of like power pop.
Yes.
And really good melodies and harmonies. Ingrid, and her sound is more pretty. Her writing is more, I think the word for it is wispy and like funky. So a lot of lush harmonies and strings. And I also really like, of course, the Beatles have to be mentioned because John Lennon is just amazing. And songs like Imagine will forever be timeless and relevant, and Let It Be. And then Simon and Garfunkel, I love Paul Simon's songwriting as well. And I listened to a bunch of Simon and Garfunkel growing up. So I would say those that I've just named, including, not to be forgotten, I'm largely influenced by Motown sound. So I really like the Jackson 5. And then, I don't know, my influences are all over the shop. I do like disco pop also, like, disco hits of the 80s, 70s, and 80s. So if you threw me some like Earth, Wind and Fire, Shaka Khan, that definitely gets me excited too.
How did
Yeah.
you first like start to, listening to the music and the songs? Were you I don't know, how did you just like start to opening your ears to different musicians, and how did you start like navigating to different artists? Because as much as we can just have an access now, we have the Spotify, right? So they always have this like the recommendation or whatever, like song list for you.
Yeah, they curate.
Right?
Yeah.
But also you have to actively go in there to search and then to know more about the musicians, and then also like the music, the genres. Like you are into Motown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it more of your personal search, or like were you in touch with the friends group, or inclined to music, or your family more open to listen to music, appreciation, all those?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I said, the idols, my musical deities for me, the people that I kind of worship, the Stevie, Ella, Aretha, I grew up listening to, and then a lot of the contemporary musicians and music that I check out are either stuff that I find on playlists, Spotify playlists. I actually listen to Apple, playlists quite a fair bit, and if I find a song and a sound that I really like, I just check out the artists involved. And I'll maybe download, an EP or an album that they've done and get to know their work better. Because sometimes you hear songs that you like by artists, but if it's a one-off collaboration type thing, they don't actually sound that way. So it's good to, like, if you get into an artist for one song, check out more of their work. And if their work is kind of cohesively sounding like that and you dig that sound, then, you found your new favorite sound of the moment, your new favorite artist and song of the moment. I also get quite a lot of song recommendations from friends, because a lot of the friends that I hang out with on a regular basis are super into music and have great taste, so they share what they're listening to me, stuff that they've discovered by accident, and sometimes it's easy. I'm sure you've done this before. You go onto YouTube or Spotify, whatever, and then you look at one artist for one song, and then it leads you to a bunch of songs. But then below that, there's a whole list of artists that sound like this. And then if you're free, or even if you're not free, you're just like, oh, it's addictive. You just keep looking. So sometimes I find my new favorite artist from that. But I would say largely stuff that I listen to, I find accidentally on my own. And I also already know, through friends, because while I was at school, it was bands that we're into, who are still current. Yeah.
I see. So yeah, thanks for sharing. So definitely, I think like really going deeper into like different songs of the artist, not just listening to one song, helps us understand like the overall music, and then the voice, right, and expression of the art, and also not only that, just how are those songs born, like from what context. It really gives you that rich insight about the songs and the music, right? I see. So that's how you develop your taste, and your hearing, right, your ears to the music. And so I can see that you do admire and respect these artists who do have that kind of like originality, who always stands out, right? Who has a strong character. And and also you said you are like really super into like Motown style, and there is a little bit of soulfulness. If I listen to your songs, I can also feel that influence coming from that. So what is the beauty of Motown that attracts you so much?
It's a sound. It's a sound that it's just feel good and makes you want to move. I don't know, when you listen to a Jackson 5 song, you just like blame it on the boogie or I Want You Back, you just want to kind of like, bop your head and tap your toes and, like wave your body a little bit, like shrug your shoulders. I don't know. It just makes you feel good. Yeah. And sound is really iconic too. It's that sound from that era, I can't really, I don't have words. it's just it makes your body move,
and I can feel your love for that. It really makes your body to physically respond like instantly, right?
That's how you know that you connect with the music, regardless of whether it's Motown or not. It can be any kind of music. Like if it makes you move, if your body is reacting to it, then it's for you. I think, because I love all sorts of music too. You know, I really like standards from the Great American Songbook. I like current pop. You know, a lot of people who do music kind of like to hate a little bit on pop because it's all we hear on the radio here in Singapore. But I mean, good music is good music. There are some pretty good stuff, you know, that gets circulated on the airwaves. And there's a reason why people, you know, love those songs and want to yell the chorus of those songs, because it's good songwriting, you know, it's catchy. And it's well produced. Production is huge nowadays, for music. So,
Cool. All right, then let's talk a little about your journey as a musician.
Okay.
So you didn't start off as like a music major student, right?
No, I was pretty late to it, actually. I only knew that I wanted to do music more seriously when I was 22.
Was there any reason, occasion, anything that gave you that, you know, realization or determination that you will go into music?
Wow, can I just say that who I am today as a singer-songwriter / indie artist / you know, up until circuit breaker, regular gigging musician, is a product of me deciding after I finished a degree in social sciences. After I finished that, I was just like, well, I'm really lucky because I come from a family who supports my happiness, supports me in kind of exploring myself and my abilities. And I didn't really want to enter the workforce. So it was like, all right, I just graduated and I don't really want to work. Let me find out what I can do with my voice and also at the same time not work, you know? And so, you know, it came to my attention that there's a school in the States, which a bunch of music friends that I know from Singapore seem to, you know, like hold very highly, in very high regard. And I was just like, okay, let me find out more about this school. And so, you know, I did some research and I was sold. And I was just like, well, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna apply for the school because it would be perfect timing if I applied and I got it. You know, I finished one program and then start another one after a short break. And if I don't get it, I was actually going into journalism. I was quite interested in journalism at that point of time, and I did an internship at Singapore Press Holdings for a little bit. So I was writing, and I was just like, okay, if I don't get music, I'll just go to journalism and end of story. It's okay, I'll accept that. That's what the universe wants. But here we are today because I got in, and songwriting was accidental for me as well. It was honestly me taking a class and finishing homework. So I finished writing a lyric for a section of a song, and then the rest of the assignment was to finish a song. So I did. And at the same time, I had a producer friend, because we have different programs at the music school that I went to. So my program was in performance, right? But we have a lot of people who take engineering as well, sound engineering, audio engineering, and production. So my friend was from that program, and he needed to develop an artist, and we were good friends. So he was just like, hey, you need to do something for your work, and you need to write more stuff because what you've written shows that you can write, you know? And I was just like, oh, okay. And that was in 2015. And I guess after I put out one song, I kind of continued writing, and that's landed me here today.
That's amazing.
So that's artistry.
Yeah. How did the school treat you? So you went to Berkeley College of Music, right, in States. How was the teaching and how was the learning experience from there? And do you also remember any teacher that you had who really inspired you to grow as a musician and also like as a vocalist and singer-songwriter?
The experience was amazing. I would say the biggest takeaway that anyone can have from any community that you choose to be a part of, that you are engaged, that you are somehow involved in, is by being accountable for your own learning as well. Like, because, you know, one of the questions that I think you posed to me earlier was, who is the best vocal teacher for you? And I actually wrote down 3 things. And it's related to this answer that I just, you know, shared about how you are most accountable for your own learning. In that sense, you're your best teacher. But what leads to you being your best teacher? For me, it's my students, actually. So I find that I'm a better singer when I teach. And I find that I'm a better teacher when I teach, because the more you do, the more you get used to it. And your students teach you how to teach them, really, because in the way they relate to you and the questions they ask and how they respond to what you tell them to do, you're subconsciously, maybe, I don't know whether you realize it or not, you're responding to that, and then you're kind of retraining yourself with every time you teach somebody or tell something to someone that you want to share. So my students. And then again, you're your best teacher, right? So the internet is great nowadays. We're lucky to live in this time where, everything's accessible if we just YouTube it or if we just Google it. I mean, you can just Google like vocal chords, vocal folds, this song lyric or whatever it is, the chord progressions, how does music theory work? It's all there, right? But of course do it with discretion, because there's also a lot of nonsense. But and two memorable teachers for me, actually there are so many good teachers at Berkeley, but I would have to say two very memorable teachers for me are Lisa Thorson. She was this amazing, like, she feels like my mom a little bit, amazing lady in a wheelchair. She had an accident, but she continued to teach. I feel she was so dedicated. It showed me how much she cared. Because from the moment I started learning with her, and I feel like she was already in a wheelchair from the time that I got to know her. And she really paid attention to her private students' individual sound. And I think that's very important in a teacher, because everybody is, made differently. Our bodies biologically are different. So yeah, she never forgot that, and she was always interested in what we wanted for our voices as well, and what we wanted to learn, how we wanted to grow, as singers. So Lisa was great, and she gave me very helpful advice. She would sit and listen. Different teachers had different styles of teaching, but I feel like hers was more of observing, giving feedback, and then asking you what you yourself felt, kind of thing, which I think is very good. It's a very good practice, because I think silence is underrated and reflection is underrated, and I think it's very important for anything you're doing, regardless of singing or whatever. You need to have some downtime to process. And that adds, it adds fertilizer to your journey, even if you don't hear it. So Lisa. And another great teacher I had was Donna McElroy. She is, I don't know whether she's a veteran for sure. They're both veterans. She is more of the gospel soul type singer, and she led a gospel ensemble and stuff. But I took a lab class. Lab class is basically like a small group class with her. And I feel like she had high standards, which she held us up to as well, but in a good way. So it's like, if she's kicking your butt, it's for a good reason, because she believes that you can reach a certain thing vocally with your ability, or as a performer with your ability, but you are missing your potential because blah, and she'll tell you why, and then she'll guide you towards it, So it's specific feedback, and she won't go easy on you because she knows what you're capable of, and it's good for you. Those are two teachers that come to mind straight away, but there's so many great teachers. I worked with Peter Eldridge, Joey Blake. I don't know if you've heard these names, but so Peter is, he arranged and sang in the New York Voices. And Joey Blake is a contemporary of Bobby McFerrin. So all these amazing human beings, they're really fun. They're quite scream. They're fun to hang out with too. And one thing that I super enjoyed about music school was the culture there is very different from the culture of schooling here. Here we don't hang out with our teachers. Because I can say this as I have been to university here, and then I went to college there, right? Over here it's kind of respect. Yes. Answer the question, do the homework, and then if there are things to be discussed, the teacher will let you know when it's discussion time. Over there, it's kind of anything goes. Also, maybe because it's music, and what I did here was not music. I don't know if it's different in Yangsu-To if you go to that school, at NUS. But we would grab a beer with our professors after class sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, super fun.
That's a cool experience.
And then we'll talk more about music.
And then you get nerdy, right?
Yeah, just find similar people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Actually, it's really nice how what you mentioned about like having that time for yourself to really own that silence, and also like the time for you to reflect upon your experiences and come up with your own answers that works for you at that time, just in a step by step.
Mhm.
uh, I mean, because we want to grow, we want to get better, we are restless, and I think that's sometimes causing us to be blind,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
impatient. And if there is a teacher who can really hold you down, and like really allows you to like yeah, navigate a little bit more without feeling insecure, I think that's amazing. And also like having somebody who believes you, it's quite
Yeah.
different, opposite, who believes you
Yeah.
and who sees a potential that you cannot see at the moment, and really pushes you to the challenge for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
It's
was
important. It's important, I think, as a teacher, um, to convey clearly to your students that you kick their butt because you believe they can reach a certain level,
mm,
with their abilities.
mm,
And if you are harsh on them, it's not because you don't like their face or something. you know, it's because you feel they're not doing what they can do. Yeah. But that said, yeah, I think I'll let you take it for a little bit because I know you have more questions, and we'll have
yeah.
a conversation.
Okay, yeah. So as a teacher,
Yes.
Enya, like, what's your style of teaching?
I think I tend to take after what we just discussed. So like I am nice, I am firm,
Mm,
and I am stern also.
mm,
And I teach students from 6 years old to 61 years old.
mm,
So you need to have different teaching approaches because you can't teach a 6-year-old like you would a 28-year-old, for
mm,
example, right? You have to break it down in children language a little bit. So with the children that I teach, I'm a little bit more animated.
mm,
A little bit like I raise my energy to match theirs. If they want to play games, like I'll try and incorporate that somehow. And I weave quite a fair bit of storytelling. Like if I'm giving them a warm-up arpeggio, for example, right? I'll be like, I'll say, okay, your voice is this man or woman, and he's going up the mountain. So he goes up, and he reaches the top, and he's so happy about it. So he's like Mario, he jumps 2 times, and then he comes down. So I'll tell them stories like that, and they love it, and they don't even. I think the best learning is when kids don't realize they're learning. For kids, with adults, it's a different thing altogether. I am not as harsh. I think you have to be sterner with kids also because they need that structure a little bit. Yeah, but with adults, I would say I give them, technical drills. I tell them to sit with it and make sure they practice because I feel there is no point in seeing each other very regularly unless you've had time to spend with the material. Back to the reflection thing. So yeah, I'm stern. I'm nice. I crack jokes. I like them to relate to me not just as a source of vocal authority, material wise, but also as a human being. And I feel like, if there's stuff they want to learn, please let me know because that's what I'm here to. You're here to achieve your objectives,
yeah.
and my role in that is to help you.
Mm,
And if we're not having a conversation, therefore something is wrong because I'm just imposing stuff on you then, without really knowing what you want. So I really encourage them to speak up, especially the adults, because they know it well enough by then, what you want to learn, stuff that you're struggling with, and bring in stuff that you struggle with because it's there that we can start to realize, how I can help you. Yeah, and I think I definitely advise all my students to spend some time every day singing.
mm.
And yeah, even with, one thing that I do consistently with adults and children is, the head voice and the chest voice.
Oh yeah.
As a teacher yourself,
Yeah.
I like to tell my students that the Barbie doll voice that they used to put on when they're playing games, with their siblings or cousins, whatever, is the same feeling that should be there when you're using your head voice. However, you're just adding notes to it, and you're adding notes on purpose in a certain shape, in a certain way. So if you say, my name is Barbie, you can sing, my name is Barbie, or something, and it's essentially the Disney voice too.
Yeah.
And the chest voice, conversely, is most pure when we're speaking. like to a room, for example, projecting your voice. And when you add notes to the speaking voice, it becomes your chest voice when you're singing, pretty much. So it's just like, hello, you know, like it's just like talking almost. That's one thing I do pretty consistently. I don't know how I'm answering your question right now because you asked me how I teach.
I think like just by listening to what you're doing, what you're just now explaining, what you're sharing, like these are all experiences that like helps me to understand. Okay, this is a style of you, like how you can be very adaptive towards the students of different age, not only different age, but then different personality, different styles of learning, right? So it can be very adaptive, and then it's also like very good. I mean, I don't know how social science applies to this context, but then like probably somehow like when you have those like insight about like how like each person works, we're meeting them as people, right? And you're treating them as people, not like something like a machine that you have to drill so that you produce a certain result that you want, right? So there are hundreds of ways that we can just go about it. And
totally. And like back to the thing you said about machines, I think a lot of students worry about sounding ugly and having their voice crack. And what is the worst thing that could happen? Your voice cracks. You feel slightly embarrassed and we laugh about it and we move on. You know, voice cracking is actually not as bad a thing as people think it is. It really can. I think for me, when your voice cracks or you get emotional and then you go slightly off pitch, it is the most human thing ever. And people respond to music differently when it has a vocal because the vocal, unprocessed, adds a human element that we can all relate to, whether we realize it or not. You know, the voice was the first instrument ever, right? So I think like if you're imperfect, it just makes people able to relate more with you as a human being, and it's momentary, you know, like it's not that big a deal. I think it's a bigger problem if you are a shell singing a song, you know, like you don't feel what you're singing. So we're not machines, back to what you said.
Machine breaks it, right?
Cool. Break cracks.
Nice. All right, so wow, we really went over time, but this is amazing. I'm really, really, really happy to hear all your thoughts and like just an approach about singing. And so thanks for sharing. Any interesting songs that you recommended a bunch of artists that we can listen to, but then any song that currently you are teaching and you're working with the students that you would also want to share, and then maybe share some tips.
Okay, right now I am teaching 2 songs that I thought could be cool to bring up. I'm teaching have you watched A Star Is Born, the crying film? Apparently everybody would bring a box of Kleenex in. So funnily a lot of the songs that I teach, I know because my students want to learn them. My students have great taste as well. They bring in songs that they've been listening to from their favorite artists or whatever just, caught their attention and they can't stop listening to obsessively. And they're like, can you teach me this? And other times I'll recommend songs. So one song that I'm doing right now with a student is from Lady Gaga from that film, Star Is Born. It is not shallow.
Okay, so that was the yes, right? And I'm like, okay, is she gonna surprise me with anything else?
I'm cool with shallow too, but I think musically and songwriting wise, this song is superior. So okay. It's called Always Remember Us This Way. Have you heard it?
Yeah.
It's when I'm all choked up but I can't find the words. Yeah. So I think this song is super emotional, and it does involve quite a fair use of a mixed voice with like chest thrown into the mix. Especially when she's going up to the higher notes, there can only be one Lady Gaga. She will belt it as Lady Gaga belts it, right? Because she starts off the song, the verse is kind of chill. She goes, it's also chest voice mostly. So the California sky burning in your eyes. You look at me, oh babe, I wanna set on fire. And then it repeats another round of this for the verse. And then it goes to the sort of refrain where she goes, so while I'm all choked up and I can't find the words. So diaphragm is super important. Diaphragm is important anyway. But you really feel a lot more tired and unable to sing it if you're not supporting strongly with your diaphragm. And at the same time, when I'm all choked up, but I can't find the words. There's quite a lot of chest, even though it's quite high. And students would struggle with that, you know. If another thing about singing is it's quite physical, as I'm sure you tell your students too, and you have to respect your own biology. Therefore, you know, respecting your individual sound and what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And if you want to stretch your ability, you take it slow, because respect your body.
Yeah.
Respect and accept. And your body can get there. Body's an amazing thing, but you have to let it be ready. Yes. And how do you let it be ready? You let this muscle, the diaphragm, get strong. Because a lot of people coming with the wrong idea, they tense up here and they're loose here. And I'm like, no, we're gonna flip that around, because you want to support here and you want to have the right inside feeling, the shape of your space inside. So to get to the when I'm all choked up but I can't find the words, you need to practice it and be aware of the chest voice, head voice separately, how to put them together with all the support. And singing is so visual, it's so mental, that if you're not imagining where your sound is coming out from and you're not hearing what you want to sing before you sing it, I think you're going to have a much harder time. Yeah, so that's one song. And another song, super sweet student of mine wants to sing it for his upcoming wedding. Will not name him because I don't want to give the surprise away. I don't think his significant other knows yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Elton John's "Can You Feel the Love" from the Disney Lion King. So, where does he struggle? There's a calm surrender. This is original key, yeah. So, to the rush of day, and then at the chorus he goes, can you feel the love tonight? Right? Well, it's low for me because I'm a woman. But he struggles to get up there. So
is it F? Is it F? No?
Yeah, it's F.
Yeah.
Can you feel? I think for him also it's partly, I think a lot of singers, when they first start taking lessons and they start trying to perform stuff, they get anxious. Performance anxiety is another big part of singing. And I feel like it's more so with singing than with other instruments, because if you're an instrumentalist, you can hide behind an instrument. And you're not like, you don't necessarily have to be the main center focus. If you're a singer and you have accompaniment or you're singing with a band, you end up being the host, you know, you end up being the MC. And so, yeah, I think this student, the Elton John song student, he is learning to address being a bit anxious also about singing. Yeah, and then he will forget to support his diaphragm, so I have to constantly remind him, which is fine. You know, it's something that will eventually become second nature if you keep singing.
That's nice. I think, you know, personally, singing for the wedding is the most challenging performance training that a person can go through. Like, it's a life, you know, like once in a life, hopefully. I don't know. But for the time being, when they're preparing for it, it's a once in a life event. And then it's like the most important that's in their life. So they don't want to screw it. Right?
Of course. Yeah.
So then that puts a lot of emotional toll on you, and you have somebody who's the most important to you and who makes you feel the most insecure maybe, and you're presenting your voice
at the same time, and you really want them to enjoy what you've prepared.
That's the thing. So it's really, but then that's why I think it's so meaningful for a person to prepare and then sing for the wedding.
Definitely.
And then okay, but then I guess
a guy has more time because of the whole COVID situation. I think they were supposed to have the event in November, but now because of, you know, crowd control and stuff, like I think he has until next year. So I was like, you'll be
awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. So like it only makes his voice better, hopefully. Right. So for the guys to hit that high note, and this is a romantic song, so he doesn't want to like sing as he does a rock song. So I can see the challenge happening here. So it just needs to go gradually, to reach there. So for him, I guess it's a patience, allowing yourself to like build towards there.
And remember to count. A lot of people, when they're starting out to sing, there's so many things for you to remember, right? When you're new to singing, diaphragm, blah. Oh, but then what's the next notes? The next notes that I'm true. Then I forget about my diaphragm. Yeah. And then I forget to breathe. And I'm just like, oh, you guys are really cute. Can you just remember to give yourself some oxygen? Yeah.
That is very true. So you need to
Yeah.
have this muscle memories all like kind of like,
Yeah.
like coordinate together, and then like, they have to happen in a jointed manner.
Yeah.
And
And
it
then
takes
very
time.
cute habits as well. Like, the higher they try to sing, the more their chin comes out. They'll be like, "Ah," and I'm like, why are you doing this? Or like, the classic one is when you get your students to make a jump from high to low, and they go, ah.
Yes.
Like, why? Why do you drop your chin? Is it help?
Yeah, and it's just cute. It's very lovely to watch all those because it's they are trying.
They are so
They are
hard.
trying somehow. Trying so hard.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, okay, yeah, these are good suggestions, and then like good sharings of your teaching experience, and it's definitely fun. I think it's really fun to have classes with you. Yeah.
I have fun. I don't know about I can't speak for my students, but I sure hope they have some fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like to have fun. Let's
That's the
have fun.
important part. That's the most important. You need to enjoy it. Truly, really enjoy the time that you're singing. You cannot, I don't believe in that forceful way of you should be better, you should be better, you should be better. No way.
No.
Especially in singing, when the mothers are, sometimes we have high expectations. Oh, can my, child make it to be a great singer? What should I improving? But you have to see it as a real personal experience, a journey that you are taking yourself to.
Right.
It's more of a holistic, really like a human development. Like really, like with singing, you get to have, I don't know, epiphany, some like realization. And sometimes it's just a breakthrough, but it means a lot. Sometimes the breakthrough has to happen like so many times. It's so near there, but you need to just wait for it to happen. So I think this is what's really making the singing experience very fun, and also teaching experience really fun too as well.
Singing is good for you. Scientific studies have shown that they examined two different groups. One group, their activity through recreation was singing, and another was something else. And singing definitely has a positive impact on a person's mood. It makes you happier on the whole. So keep singing, people.
Yeah, and because that allows you to really be the host, right, of your own self. So I think that's really beautiful. Yeah, thanks, Enya, so much
Thanks, Hannah.
for sharing of your teaching and your musical journey. So, any song that we can listen to, any of your songs that we can listen to from Spotify or YouTube that you would want to recommend?
Well, okay. COVID has been quite a fruitful season in terms of studio work for me.
Yeah.
So I think currently the song that's doing best for me on Spotify right now is called Pancakes. Artist name, you can find me at NyaLi, capital L. It's NyaLi. So it's basically my first name and my last name joined together. And then I kicked off the E and I kicked off the M at the end.
Okay.
So NyaLi. I have a bunch of releases that happened this year actually. So Pancakes is the best performing one so far. But I also recently put out Don't Wanna Say. That one has a really pretty animation video, so I would recommend you check it out on YouTube. I commissioned a friend of mine. She's an amazing animator, and so she made like an anime style kind of visuals, and it has like the Singapore flyer and the esplanade in it as well. Like she animated that. Yeah, so that's a video definitely I recommend you check out her amazing work and follow her. Pancakes and that. And I mean, I have a release that's coming up end of October. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it'll be NyaLi Music. And a friend of mine and I just put out a submission for actually a contest by LG, the mobile brand, handphone. LG? I think it's Korean, isn't it? Yeah, LG. So basically they had a collaboration project with the artist Her Music. Yeah, where she had an open call and invited musicians, singers, rappers, whoever, producers around to help her finish writing a song that she started writing. So she came out with verses of the song. Yeah. And my friend and I participated. So like I put up the full video on my Instagram TV. And we got like a super dope Korean guitar player to work with us remotely, who also went to school with us. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Sweet guitar bits at the instrumental towards the end. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's a recent thing that I did. And yeah, I'm thinking of putting out a new EP, maybe an album, because it's that time of my year where I feel like, okay, I've lived long enough, I'm old enough, and I have enough collected memories and experiences that maybe I should have a body that is unified of work, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes. So anyone interested in checking out more of Enya's work, yeah, go to NyaLi, right? Go to NyaLi.
Yeah.
You can. It's very easy to remember. Pancake, and I think it's a song about an animal, isn't it?
Oh, pancakes?
It's pancake. What is it like? I listened to it, and was it something about the pet, or was it like really about like a pancake, like your sweet heart, love?
It was actually a song that I wrote when I was about to leave New York, and I wrote it as a birthday gift for my then boyfriend.
Oh.
Because reality sucks sometimes. Well, a lot of the time sucks, and so we decided we wouldn't do a long distance. We decided to stay friends, and so I said, "Hey, man, like we had a good time. I'll always love you, and I'll love you more than pancakes." And he actually helped me to write the song without knowing that he helped me write the song, because we had breakfast one day and we made pancakes, and he said, "I only love you till August," because August was when we were going to separate ways.
Yeah.
So I can only love you till August. I was just like, I'll be right back. I need to write a song, and I left. And that song came from there. So I wrote that in 2018, and I put it out only this year because I wanted it to be perfect. That song, like, is quite an important memoir for me. Yeah. So the world is big, but hey, man, like love is still something that all of us are going to choose, even though it causes heartbreak sometimes. Yeah. So that's what the song's about.
That's beautiful. All righty. Okay. Thank you. Thank
All
you so much, Enya, for this talk. And
you,
yes,
Hannah.
hope to see you soon. And anyone, if you want to learn from Enya, you can let us know. If you have any questions, we are here to answer your questions and help you to, take the next steps for your singing.
Yeah, that's
All right.
what
Thank you, guys. And thanks, Enya.
Hannah, see you later.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.